control or their freedoms should be taken away even more and that sort of thing.
The vast majority of people involved in Monday's protests did so peacefully. It was the third in a series of marches that did result in the extradition bill being suspended. But for those who chose violence, the justification was that marches have not achieved their ultimate goals. To name a few, the extradition bill still hasn't been repealed, some protesters remain in government custody, and Carrie Lam still has her job.
People might not fully agree on all the behaviors of activists when they storm into the Legislative Council, but they feel depressed and no hope, and they can't solve the problem inside the institution.
And so now we turn to what happens next. Will more peaceful marches go on, fighting for and winning change? Or has this protest movement's hard-earned momentum been blunted by the sharp end of the battering ram smashing into the seat of Hong Kong's government? Once the cleanup ends, the wait for those answers begins. Matt Rivers, CNN, Hong Kong.
U.S. stocks finished Tuesday's session with a fresh record high. The Dow gained 69 points, or 0.3%, while the S&P 500 eked out a small gain to surpass the all-time record high it set on Monday, 0.29% increase, and the Nasdaq up as well, 0.22%. Markets close early in the coming day, and they are closed Thursday for America's Independence Day holiday. The week started with economic optimism after the U.S. and China agreed to a ceasefire in their trade war. Well, what a difference a day makes. The U.S. now has upped its trade fight with the European Union, threatening new tariffs on $4 billion of European exports. Paula Monica with more.
Another front in the global trade war is heating up. The Trump administration is threatening new tariffs on $4 billion worth of EU goods. The tariffs cover 89 products, including meat, cheese, pasta, fruits, coffee, and whiskey. This is tied to an ongoing dispute over aircraft subsidies for Boeing and Airbus. It's a fight that's been raging between the U.S. and the EU since 2004. The Trump administration has already imposed tariffs on European steel and aluminum. The EU responded to that action with tariffs on $3 billion worth of U.S. goods. For investors, all of this is another reminder that trade uncertainty is not going away. Just a few days ago, the United States and China agreed to resume talks on a trade deal. But like a game of whack-a-mole, one dispute gets tamped down and another pops up. Back to you.
Paula Monica, thank you. Nike is canceling a sneaker meant to celebrate America's Independence Day holiday. The sneaker features an 18th century version of the American flag that was created by Betsy Ross. The flag has 13 stars representing the first U.S. colonies. Well, Nike has recalled the shoe after it reportedly received a complaint from former NFL star Colin Kaepernick. He ignited a controversy some time ago for kneeling during the national anthem. Kaepernick reportedly found the shoe offensive because of its ties to America's era of slavery. Arizona's governor is among those criticizing Nike's decision to pull the shoe, saying he is pulling financial incentives for Nike to build a factory in the state. But the sneaker is now selling for upwards of $2,500 on a streetwear auction site. Well, Nike isn't the only one dealing with criticism over its 4th of July plans. Critics are slamming U.S. President Donald Trump after he announced a revamped Independence Day event they say politicizes the day and the military. Our Caitlin Collins has the details.
President Trump's grand vision for a military parade is finally coming true, at least partially.
It'll be like no other. It'll be special, and I hope a lot of people come.
On Thursday, Trump will turn Washington's annual 4th of July celebration into a show of military might. CNN has learned new details about the last-minute event, which will feature tanks parked at the Lincoln Memorial, a flyover from the Navy's Blue Angels and Air Force One, along with the unveiling of the new Marine One helicopter.
We're going to have planes going overhead, the best fighter jets in the world, and other planes too. And we're going to have some tanks stationed outside.
Defense officials have long been hesitant about using the armed forces to advance a president's agenda and said there's no need for the U.S. to flout its military strength. But sources say Trump has asked the chiefs of the armed forces to stand by his side.
It's just not who we are as Americans.
The president is setting himself up for a clash with his critics, who say he's turning the patriotic celebration into a partisan one. Asked Monday if his speech will reach all Americans, he turned to Democrats.
I think I've reached most Americans. What the Democrats' plan is going to destroy the country, and it's going to be horrible health care.
Today, the White House went even further. Trump is expected to speak for 20 minutes Thursday and will touch on several topics, including his administration.
Thematically, how wonderful this country is, our troops and military, our great democracy, and great call to patriotism, the success of this administration in opening up so many jobs for individuals, what we've done for veterans. There's no final form yet, but America will hear the whole speech.
Local officials say they have logistical concerns about putting military equipment in crowded tourist hotspots. The D.C. City Council tweeting today, tanks, but no tanks. But Trump is charging ahead.
The roads have a tendency not to like to carry heavy tanks, so we have to put them in certain areas.
While the public will get to watch from afar, the areas closest to Trump will be reserved for VIPs, who sources say will include his political allies. Trump has wanted a military parade of his own since seeing U.S. and French troops march through the streets of Paris 2 years ago.
It was one of the greatest parades I've ever seen.
Today, presidential advisor Kellyanne Conway sparred with reporters about the details of the event.
Do you know the 4th of July is a celebration of this country's independence? Are you aware of that? I'm not going to allow you to politicize it.
All right, Caitlin Collins at the White House reporting. Thank you for that. Mumbai, India is getting its heaviest rainfall in more than a decade. Dozens have been killed. Will there be a break in the weather anytime soon? That's what everyone's asking. The details coming up.
On the next CNN Business Traveler.
We're in Copenhagen and we're swapping the boardroom for the bike.
It keeps us healthy, but it's also a more fun commute.
Unfussy business meetings.
It doesn't have to be so formal. In this case, come to the theatre.
Achieving Zen with an app.
Set a timer and listen to chants.
Taking the stress out of life on the road.
Fitness, happiness and well-being on the next CNN Business Traveler.
We are go for Apollo 11. The Eagle has landed.
Join CNN on a month-long journey to meet the real-life Apollo 11 adventure seekers.
Did you recognize the magnitude of what you're about to do?
To learn the out-of-this-world stories of your favorite gadgets and to discover what is next in space travel.
When we explore, we're asking questions of humanity. The first step was the moon. The next step is Mars.
This has been far more than 3 men on a voyage to the moon.
Space 50. This month on CNN.
We follow the news as it happens and where it happens. And then we also take a step back to walk the viewer through the day's news. That's the mission of Hala Garani tonight.
In the past, business leaders have felt that their job is, to worry about the next quarter's earnings, to worry about the shareholders, and then to leave governments and social sectors to worry about. If we can actually now bring more and more and more entrepreneurs and business leaders into the fold and actually tackling issues, I think we can get on top of the problems of the world much quicker.
More power, more speed, more innovation.
Formula E continues to blaze the trail towards our electric future. Join me, Nikki Shields, for the ride on CNN Supercharged. As the sport gains momentum on and off the track, we travel the world to bring you electrifying races and show you the technology driving the latest in eco-friendly transport.
CNN Supercharged, Thursday on CNN, in association with DHL.
I'm Anderson Cooper. This is CNN.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Amaryl Walker. Look now at the top stories we're following. The Inspector General of America's Department of Homeland Security has released dramatic photos from southern border detention facilities, along with a new report warning of dangerous overcrowding. It comes as members of Congress describe horrific conditions after visiting border detention facilities on Monday. A jury in California has found Navy SEAL Eddie Gallagher not guilty of premeditated murder in the 2017 death of an ISIS prisoner in Iraq. Jurors deliberated for about 6 hours before finding Gallagher not guilty of all but one charge, posing for a photo with a human casualty. He faces a maximum sentence of 4 months. Team USA has earned its spot in the final of the Women's Football World Cup by sending England home. It is a third final in a row for the defending champions, and they will face the winner of Wednesday's semifinal between the Netherlands and Sweden. Deadly monsoon rain is inundating western India. At least 32 people have died in the downpours, and our Tom Cedar is here to tell us when things could possibly start easing up, and it's not soon, is it?
It doesn't look like for Mumbai. I mean, the problem is that there's a saying in India that you live and you die by the monsoon rains. Unfortunately, they're dying literally because for a long time it was the heat taking lives. You couldn't buy a drop of rain. Now the financial district of India is under a state of emergency.
Nearly 3 days of heavy rain have left much of India's financial capital, Mumbai, underwater. The city is virtually paralyzed. Government offices and schools were closed on Tuesday. Roads and railway tracks are buried underwater, disrupting traffic and leaving those who dared to venture out in the midst of a monsoon downpour struggling to get around the city.
There is water everywhere. This train right here on the next platform, they're not allowing that to leave either.
Commuting is a big problem. How does a common man go to work or reach home? They have to get in knee-deep and sometimes waist-deep water.
This is Mumbai's heaviest rainfall in 14 years. The city recorded 375 millimeters of rain in just 24 hours ending on Tuesday. Here in the slum community, built on a hill in the western suburb of the city, the walls of a dam came crashing down, killing about 24 people and injuring several others.
When the nearby drainage canal overflowed, the pressure from the water led to the collapse of the wall.
It was a similar occurrence in the nearby city of Pune. Late Tuesday, rescue teams continued to search for survivors here, digging through the mud to see if there were any signs of life buried underneath. The monsoon season has been slow in India this year, about 2 weeks behind schedule in some areas. Here in Mumbai and surrounding towns, forecasters say more rain is expected, but nothing as heavy as what has fallen here since Sunday.
The forecast for Mumbai keeps thunderstorms in the forecast for the next 7 days. You know, it amazes me every year when we watch the monsoon rains how it's never distributed evenly. Chennai is still waiting on rain as they continue to bring in water from other areas. But you can see what they're dealing with here in Mumbai. When you watch the thunderstorm activity and you start to see this on the infrared satellite imagery, we want this to be up near Karachi into Lahore, Pakistan. But if you look, and I've showed this, the past 7 seasons have not been good. But the worst not on this list was 2009. 2009 was such a terrible monsoon year with a lack of rainfall. It's the third driest in the recorded history. And this goes back to 1900. Why is 2009 important? If you look at last month, they were minus 32%, the worst June since 2009. Each one of these vertical lines is a day of rainfall, and they've all been below average until yesterday. We had our first day above average rainfall, but minus 30, how do you make this up? Mumbai, you don't want to see all of your rain fall in 5-day period where they picked up 795 millimeters. That's almost everything they get in July, the month of July, in just 5 days. So things are picking up, but they're not where they need to be. We need to get it up here in the north in the breadbasket where the grains really are produced. Not even in New Delhi yet, even though they've had a few isolated showers. So again, when you look at where it is, this is the trouble spot. Parts of Maharashtra, you can see where Mumbai is, and Gujarat, typically known for their drought this time of year. But when you look at that area of concentration of rain the next couple of days, it fits India's Met Department and what they're looking at as far as warnings. So again, we can continue from here. You can hope this moves to the north, but right now, farmers are planting furiously in all of the open fields, trying to beat the line of instability. But the death toll, unfortunately, for the rain alone in Mumbai may continue. The worst part about it, Amra, is that all all goes down to the low-lying areas. It clogs all of the sewer drains, and it stays that way for some time, and the water levels continue to rise in just the surrounding communities. But thunderstorms for Mumbai each and every day. We need to spread it out a little bit better than this.
Yeah, you would hope so. All right, Tom Sater, thank you so much for that. Stargazers turned out in Chile and Argentina for an exciting celestial event. An eclipse is quite a sight to behold, and make sure you wear those glasses, and it doesn't happen all that often. We'll show it to you next.
There, another shot.
Yeah, the shield's gone back up again.
They called for backup and none has arrived.
It's very nice to meet you. I wish you the best.
If you look at me, then you would say I belong to the old guard, and that is a fact. Look at the new cabinet which I have. How many people are new in that cabinet? You can see the direction which we are going. And I said this even before the conclusion of the elections, that I'm going to bring in people with the expertise in various areas, the women and the youth, and I've done so. I can assure you that under my administration, the issue of color has no place. It's the issue of expertise which we want. We would want to grow our economy. We want to modernize our economy. We will not focus on the past. Our focus is to make Zimbabwe a better place, is to make Zimbabwe acceptable again into the international community.
Energy powers us, and our demand for it continues to grow as our planet endures continuing pressure for